Hi everyone, it's Tim again. I'm your host on the buzz all the way till 8 p.m. Now I'm talking to you everything business, tech, entrepreneurship, everything that you need to know with regard to, if it is, staying updated with what's going on. I was just talking about how Coinbase went through their IPO and how they're earning, big numbers, and they came to a big huge valuation from the point of, inception to Nasdaq's valuation yesterday. Now they did have a big fluctuation from the point of in installing their stock value. They started from $300, they went up to all the way up to $420, and then they bounced back to about $380. We did talk about a couple of investors that have been pushing their numbers and then growing along with this. Coinbase is very positive, although they have so many critics about the fact that it is crypto based. Now Brian Armstrong, one of the co-founders of Coinbase, is talking about how they are still positive about the fact that these guys are going public, about the fact that there is a lot of critics that talk about how it might be going against the fact that Bitcoin is the strongest holding cryptocurrency, but that there's about a 26 billion dollar market cap that these guys own. Now, talking about all the cryptocurrency, there's a 2 trillion market cap there alone, right? So I think Coinbase has a significant amount of reason to be, confident in going public. They are a valuable, platform. A lot of people trust these guys, right? Now they are profiting as well. They're taking about $322 million of revenue from, the last year of performance alone. And they've estimated about $800 million of performance in the first quarter of this year. Now it does show superb growth, and I think they've come into their IPO in a superb time, and that timing has been super. So I mean, now I'm going to be talking more around the lines of for business owners or employers, and if you want to understand how. I mean, you definitely will want, if you are looking at running your own business down the line, if you are looking at, having a cool work culture. Like I was talking about how coming to the point of, how when superstars or NBA owners or NBA superstars alone, how players, when they come to the point where they are running a team, if they own a team, they can come and solve in so much of problems that, that are not being solved right now, because you never know up to what point we, as an audience, we might only see certain points of where we might only see certain people or certain problems, right? Apart from the fact that there's so many, if it is strategies, if we are, for our perspective, I think it's only the point of how the competition works, which players are best. So just like such, I think there's as big complications towards how the operation will be if you are running your operation with the company. Now coming up as a player, if you are an owner eventually, you're definitely going to know so much of problems that you can basically accomplish or overcome as an owner down the line. Now you've seen Michael Jordan come into owning the Charlotte Hornets. You've seen Mark Cuban, he was a sportsman, and now although he's a billionaire, he owns the Dallas Mavericks, right? Now there's so many more players that are looking at coming to a trying to run the concept of talking about how they want to own teams, they want to advertise with teams, they want to endorse teams. Now if you guys have more and I'm going to talk about how you can basically include, or you can basically improve your performance as an owner of a business or even a sports team, right? You have different tips. Now I'm going to be talking about different tips in terms of how you can improve the performance or the end revenue, right? That is, I mean, it's numbers at the end of the day that run a business. So talking about how if you are looking at including your employees, now there is a difference from inclusion and and diversity, right? So companies, I mean, there are stats that show that companies that have more diverse portfolios, or if I talk about more diverse employee crowd, right, there is a 18% higher revenue generation proven to these companies. And even in the fact that even if it is talking about how, even if it is talking about how 43% of companies with diverse boards, achieve higher profits. I mean, I think this is super. I mean, I think it is a legit, stat, because there's so many different approaches to different problems, right? This is as important as running an operation, because I understand from where people might be, limited, or people might be, critical about understanding where and when they want, who they want, running their operations or making decisions in their board rather, right? So another tip is, connecting with your employees. Now, the reason you want to connect with your employees is first, you want to lead by example. Second, you want to, create a relationship with them, and then understand, what problems they want to overcome. Gary Vee always talks about this, right? He always talks about how if you are looking at, helping your company grow, you need to invest in your team as well. So if I'm talking about how, even if it's Toyota, they don't talk about the product always. They talk about how they are building people, and the people at the end of the day build the products, right? So this is an investment they look into. This is how they, trust the growth of the business as well. So another thing I'd say, I mean, I'm always, open to your guys, your opinions. Just leave a comment on our page, right on this post here. Just leave a comment down here and just let us know what your honest takes are on if you were an employer, or if you were an owner of an operation, let's say, even if it's a project, right? How you have seen your, an improvement from your side for getting your team to perform better. Well, how do you motivate them? Or, how do you get them to give their best? How, even if it is from picking your team, even if it is from, rewarding your team, how do you motivate them in terms of vision? How do you guys basically look at motivating your team to come to a point where, you perform better than, competition rather, right? So one thing people always talk about is, connecting with your team. That is as important as, visualizing your goal and pushing towards that. The second thing is being open-minded, because if you are open-minded, that is going to get you so many different approaches to, tackling a problem, because you never know what type of approaches. Now, it basically complements them as well, because they feel valued, right? And, being heard is great. If you've been an employee, you know that, being heard is great, being complimented is great. That pushes you to improve and perform better for the team, right? So you should make this a culture, I'd say. And then pushing to the third point, there are differences for people. You can't really change that. But then what you can do is, support and complement these things. Obviously, it has to align with your company culture, and it has to basically align with the performance of the company. So just don't worry too much about it, because if it is Christmas, maybe the Christians can celebrate it. Now, when the Ramadan season, now the Muslims can basically celebrate it. You have to celebrate it with them. And then even if it is a different, if it is whichever culture, you need to celebrate it with them, because you learn to understand, the beliefs of different approaches, or different people and different, cultures. It's super interesting also, because if you follow with their traditions, and at the end of the day, as long as everyone feels valued, everyone feels like they are a part of, a final product, they are going to give you their best, right? Now, the fourth tip I would say in increasing your production capacity, or your efficiency rather, is rethinking your meetings. Now, if it is talking about someone like Jeff Bezos, he alone says that if 2 pizzas are too little to feed the people at a meeting, or a team for that instance, right? Your team is too big. So you need to understand as to how, okay, first of all, is everyone that is coming to the meeting important? Is everyone actually going to make an impact towards it, right? The second thing is understanding the minutes to your meeting. Always have a structure to a conversation, because you don't want to waste your time, and you don't want to waste their time either. If it is a client, if it is an internal team, you don't really want to, waste that time. And through example, at least, if you are an employee, you need to show that your time is valuable, and as approachable as you need to be, you need to, make sure that they value their time as well at the end of the day. So you need to praise the employees as well. So the next point I'm talking about is creating resource groups. The point of this is basically to complement the differences of your employees, and then coming to a point where you check with your teams. You can even run, let's say, an anonymous questionnaire, and basically, on the replies that you get from this, basically put a problem out. Maybe people might not want to really address something in the way that they are conscious about someone else's opinion, right? So this is where this anonymous tip I'm talking to you about can push to super or a very new kind of perspective, I'd say. So what I'm saying here is, if you have a problem, let's say if it is the work hours for the team, right? If it is just not working, right? If you want to shift things, now we were talking about how we're coming in the UK, how we're looking at coming into 4-day work weeks. Now there's a whole culture, there's a whole concept behind this, right? And how basically you are coming to overtake this problem, right? If you are looking at coming across this, how would, or let's say if you're, let's say something as small as deciding which day of the week you are looking at, which day of the week you are looking at, taking the day off. So what I'm saying is, these 4 tips, just always look at increasing diversity, including your employees in an operation, and even speaking up, always looking at their point of view as well, making sure everyone feels safe. Now this is the buzz, guys. I want you guys to connect with us. I want you guys to comment on this video. We're on YouTube, we're on Facebook, on Instagram. We appreciate your comments, because as important as hearing you out, we want to know what else you want to hear, right? So just leave a comment below. We'd appreciate if you could share these posts, like and subscribe. I'll be back with you on the buzz. My name is Tim, and you know where to stay. This is Relaks Radio. That's RELAKS, not RELAX. Stay tuned here. I'll be back with more.